All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media, and my name is Judson Powell. All right, now I want to talk. You know who the Messiah, the word Messiah, Savior, however you want to call it. Pretty much every religion has one. So anyway. There are things that are called messianic voices, or voices that are saving voices, or people that are sent into the world in order to fulfill, or we'll call it certain prophecy. And it may not be, and here's the thing, it may not be from your religious book, it may not be from anybody else's religious book or whatever, but there are messianic voices. There are voices that are Messiah type voices. So the Messiah type voice that we're dealing with right now happens to be Kwame Brown. And if everybody's like talking about this guy that never talked for 20 years. So he never really said nothing for 20 years. Now, I want to say it like this. Now you can't get him to shut up, but that's good. That's a good thing. So, and then today he had on Judge Joe Brown, and there's been a lot of stuff. So look, the Trinity. So let's talk about the Trinity. So we all know, especially us that deal in comedic spirituality, we know that the Trinity is Mother, Father, and children, or son, daughter, whatever have you. Okay, so that's the Holy Trinity. The family is the Holy Trinity. All right, and so everything that's been done within the world has been done to break up this Holy Trinity. Has been done to break up. Okay, if you think about it, everything that's happened in slavery, in Jim Crow, Reconstruction, whatever you want to call it, up until this point has been done to what? Destroy the black family. The father taken out of the home, either dead, in jail, on the way, lack of education, because you have to have their education. And look, it's not that it's like the biggest thing in the world, but you have to have their education to be able to survive in the world. But for the black male, it's always been the school to prison, the school to prison pipeline. So the school to prison pipeline, all these things, right now, what do we have? We have voter suppression right now, because things are starting to change. So you're witnessing a messianic transitional period. That's what we have and we're talking about, we have that from a spiritual standpoint. All right, all of this is now taking place. So that's why I keep imploring you to wake up, especially you people that are still religious. Wake up out of religion. All right, you are God. God, there's a most high God, right? But because you were made in his image and likeness, and I take the word his out, but you were made in the image and the likeness of the Most High. So if you are in the image and likeness of the Most High, then that means, what are you? You are also God. So so one thing that I agree with that was said is that you have to speak up. All of us have to speak up. We can't have, so if all of us speak up, they can't target any one person and silence us all. So during the civil rights movement, there were only a couple of people who were speaking out. And then when they were done away with, then the movement was like silent for like 20 years, 30 years, no movement. And then all of a sudden, lately, we started to have movement, right? All of a sudden now there's movement, and it is in a progress that's going to allow everybody to be involved. So you have to take you have to take a side. You have to speak out on something, whether it be voter suppression, all right? Whether it be telling people that we are not the minority, whether it be getting people to vote and doing what, getting in good trouble, protesting, looking at all this stuff. One thing that I wanted to, that I'm gonna eventually talk about this is how, and I've been talking about all the sports leagues and all that, and Kwame Brown brought that out. It's like, look, you got to understand that we don't hold any real money making positions. Just like who gets all the money that the shoe contracts and all that stuff in college, and you're exploiting college kids. And once again, I always bring back the story of Chris Webber and Jalen Rose, who were like walking through University of Michigan, and this is part of the two of the main members of the Fab Five, but yet and still they can't afford a hamburger. And if they get caught taking money for a hamburger, then all of a sudden they're in violation of the rules and they could be suspended and can't play ball anymore. Reggie Bush is one that comes to mind. You know, he was like, look, I'm going to take the money and I'm going to put my mama up in a house. My hat's off to him. Is that wrong? You know, is that really wrong? And y'all walking around talking about how wrong this man is. This man was trying to keep his family from being homeless. But yet and still on Saturday, he's the attraction that's drawing 100,000 plus fans into a stand. And people are selling popcorn and peanuts and hot dogs and soda and beer and everything else. And those families that make that, you know, the families that make the ballpark Franks and that make the Budweiser and that make the Coca-Cola and that make all, those are the people that are getting rich. But yet and still the person that puts on the uniform every day and goes out there and practices and puts his life and limb, his body on the line. If they take a suit, you know, there was a story about an athlete that took a suit to go to his mother's funeral and they suspended him. See, these are the inconsistencies and the injustices that are done on a daily basis. So who gets the money? Who gets the money from the shoe contract and the uniform contract that are millions of dollars? Who gets the money from the TV contracts, the television contracts in college sports? Who gets all that money? There's hundreds of millions of dollars that are being paid out every time there's a football season and every time there's a basketball season. University of Michigan said, what we could let everybody go to school for free just off of the football program, the money that comes in. So where does that money go every year? Who's getting that money? College athletes should be paid because there's so much money being generated. I mean, it's ridiculous. And to say all they get is a education, but even their education is flaunting. Because most of those people, it's been proven, most of those people don't graduate from school. They go there because their schedules are too rigorous to support them doing full-time education and also being a full-time athlete, student athlete. Some of them are able to prosper in it, but most of these people that are in, and I'm not saying this to be derogatory or be negative or anything. And the other thing is, we got to stop with this stuff about, and I'm going to call out Dr. Boyce Watkins. I got to call you out because you keep on talking about educated black people. This is a network for educated black people. What about the black people that ain't educated? They still getting taken advantage of. What about the people that don't know about the stock market? What about the people that, they don't have PhDs? What about the people, that are just normal, everyday black folks that are walking up and down the street being basically unjustly murdered, unjustly incarcerated, unjustly redlined, just like redlining It's like I read on one of the sites, there was a lady and she used the straw man principle. She sent somebody else in when they took her appraisal of her property, and her property value went up significantly when there was a white person there. So this stuff is still going on. It hasn't ended. It hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. And now all of a sudden we have Black Lives Matter and all this kind of stuff, and all of that stuff is still, it's in jeopardy. Right? It's in jeopardy. So you have to use your voice. You have to start speaking up. You gotta speak truth to power, which is exactly what Kwame did. He was like, look, y'all need to stop calling me a bust. I was an 18-year-old kid. Next thing I know, I'm in the NBA with millions of dollars. But the one thing that he did do is that he took care of his mama. And what he's talking about is, look, there are a lot of black kids out there that are doing things that they, unscrupulous things that they really wouldn't do. But guess what? They see the situation that their family is in and they want to help. And so they figure, hey, if I sell some drugs or do this or do that, I'm at least helping my mama. I'm at least helping my family. That I could do something for my family. And the only ways out that they really have given us is what? The entertainment business, rappers. That's why we got so many rappers. Or to become an athlete, play football or play basketball or baseball. You only have a couple of avenues that are going to get you out of there, and there's only a couple of avenues that will put you in the amount of money that the aristocracy has. You see what I'm saying? But all of these people are making money off of you. All the agents, and everybody keeps on talking about anti-Semitism. But look, what about anti-Semitism towards black people? What about, you can say you could call somebody a nigger, but that's not a hate crime. But if I call New York Town, Jesse Jackson, then all of a sudden I'm an anti-Semite. Or if I'm so pro my people, Minister Louis Farrakhan, I get taken off of every social media platform. And that violates the First Amendment. He has freedom of speech. You should be able to say whatever you want. And everybody that's speaking that disagrees with him should still support him, because that's America. The fact of the matter is, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do, as long as you don't bother me or infringe upon my rights. But I defend your right to be able to say and do what you want to do and be free as well. That's what needs to be said. And so you take all these young kids and you put them out there, and then you expect them to be role models when they have no mentorship and nobody has established them as a role model. Handing somebody money does not increase their character. It only exposes their bad character. And the only people that they put out there, they show all of the rappers. All they show is rappers with exorbitant amounts of money, cars, women. Oh, I got, what's the rapper? I can't think of his name. He got 6 baby mamas, talking about he can't find nobody to be with. I guarantee you those 6 women that were with you wanted to be with you. And all of them ain't so bad that they couldn't have been wives. But that's the way of the Most High. The way of the Most High is that you take that woman and that you put her on a pedestal, and in return that she will protect you. That's Kemetic spirituality. Because everything that's going to start happening is going to start happening between that bond. I saw an Indian mystic. I was looking at this one Indian mystic's stuff, and he said everybody should have a wife. You weren't put here to be alone. Anyway, fast 15 minutes is up. My name is Judson Powell. Like button, subscribe button, but most of all, hit the love button. I love all of you.